Minister Narendra Modi to visit Assam today. Prime Minister will dispute 1,06,000 land pattas allotment certificates in Jerenga Pathar in Sivasagar. The nation celebrates Parakram Diwas on the 125th birth anniversary year of Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to preside over celebrations at Victoria Memorial in Kolkata. India continues to extend helping hand in the war against COVID-19 through vaccine Maitri. Indian vaccine arrives at Brazil and Morocco. Brazil President Jair Bolsonaro thanks India for vaccine. United States applauds vaccine Maitri. International news: US Senate votes to confirm Lloyd Austin as Joe Biden's defense secretary. Austin becomes the first African American to serve the role of defense secretary. Good morning. Welcome to English News. I am Anil Thomas. Now for the stories in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Assam today to participate in a special function. The Assam government initiated a major reform with a comprehensive new land policy. Its emphasis was to empower the people and to protect their land rights. Prime Minister will distribute more than 1 lakh land allotment certificates in Sivasagar district of the state.
It is said that basic amenities of life demand most of the resources that a man earns. Of them, the land or the house is certainly the most difficult and costly to own. That has prompted the government to work for enhancing the ease of living for people, especially the downtrodden and the weaker sections of society. Take the case of Assam. For decades, lakhs of people of Assam had no address and no papers of the land or the house they lived in. Now their lifelong dream will be realized on Saturday when Prime Minister Narendra Modi will distribute 1,06,000 land pattas or allotment certificates in the Sivasagar district. Taking into account an urgent need to protect the land rights of indigenous people of the state, Assam came out with a comprehensive new land policy with a renewed emphasis on protecting the land rights of the indigenous people. Now the new policy will benefit millions in the state.
ये हिस्ट्रिकल ऐतिहासिक जेरेंगा पठार यहाँ में जो प्रधानमंत्री 23 तारीख ये पट्टा डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन करने के लिए आए, ये हम लोग 1,06,948 फैमिली को ये पट्टा डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन इन 33 डिस्ट्रिक्ट में होगा.
The issuance of patta or the allotment certificates for indigenous people of Assam has been given the highest priority in order to instill a sense of security amongst them. Assam had 5.75 lakh landless families in 2016. The state government has distributed 2.28 lakh land pattas or allotment certificates since May 2016.
सरकार ने जो पदक्षेप लिया है, मैं जो बहुत खुश है. इससे पहले मुझे और मेरे गांव का कोई पता नहीं मिला था, लेकिन अभी जो सरकार है जो अति पता दिया है, उनके लिए हम बहुत आभारी देता हूं.
Although the Prime Minister will distribute the patta or the allotment certificates in the Sivasagar district, the poor landless citizens in all 34 districts of the state will eventually benefit from the scheme rollout.
1 लाख आदमी को माटी पट्टा देने का बात कभी हुआ नहीं. आसाम में ये पहली बार हो रहा है. 1 लाख आदमी को पट्टा दिया गया है और 1 लाख आदमी को 23 तारीख को ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर, हम लोग का सबसे प्यारा प्राइम मिनिस्टर नरेंद्र मोदी जी आके वो प्रदान करेंगे.
The beneficiaries will not only get the land allotment certificates, but in fact will be able to begin a new phase of life with more dignity and respect, adding to the realization of a self-reliant India and a new India. The government will distribute both the agriculture and residential land allotment certificates. With Abhishek Singh in Sivasagar, DD India.
Well, the nation celebrates Parakram Diwas on the 125th birth anniversary year of Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose today. In order to honor and remember Netaji's indomitable spirit and selfless service to the nation, Government of India has decided to celebrate his birthday on the 23rd of January every year as Parakram Diwas to inspire people of the country, especially the youth, to act with fortitude in the face of adversity as Netaji did, and to infuse in them a spirit of patriotic fervour. The Prime Minister is visiting West Bengal today to address the Parakram Diwas celebrations in Kolkata, which commemorate the 125th birth anniversary of Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose. Here are some of the key details of the event and the Prime Minister's visit.
January is set to be celebrated as Parakram Diwas every year to honor and remember Netaji's indomitable spirit and selfless service to the nation. The day is aimed at inspiring the youth to act with fortitude in face of adversity and to infuse in them a spirit of patriotic fervour. At an event to be organized to celebrate the 125th birth anniversary of Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose, children in Netaji's costume will perform along the tune of the Indian National Army song at Victoria Memorial in Kolkata in presence of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Prime Minister will visit the National Library and will also interact with the artists and conference participants. Prime Minister will also inaugurate an exhibition showcasing the life and work of Netaji. This interactive exhibition is special in many ways. It will run for 2 years and help countrymen in getting insight into the life and work of Netaji.
बहुत बड़ी प्रदर्शनी जो है, जो इंटरैक्टिव प्रदर्शनी है, वो लगाई जा रही है. उस पे क्यूरेशन का काम जो है वो मैं समझता हूँ अच्छा उभर के आया है और उसको लोग लाइक भी करेंगे. और पहली दफ़े प्रोजेक्शन मैपिंग शो जो है वो विक्टोरिया मेमोरियल बिल्डिंग के सामने जो है वो किया जाएगा और ये अपनी तरह का एक अनूठा शो है.
On this occasion, Prime Minister will also honor the veterans of Indian National Army. He will also unveil a book on the compilation of Netaji's letters. Besides, a commemorative coin and postage stamp will also be released.
डाक टिकट और कॉइन्स जारी किए जाएंगे. एक किताब जो कि पहले नेताजी की डायरी थी, जो नेशनल लाइब्रेरी में रेयर बुक्स कलेक्शन में थी, उसको हम लोगों ने निकाला है. वो 1926 से लेके 1948 तक के काल में जो नेताजी ने चिट्ठियाँ लिखी थी, जिसमें कि काफ़ी चिट्ठियाँ जो हैं जब उनको भारत से देश निकाला दिया था ब्रिटिश सरकार ने, तो जब बाहर थे तो वहाँ से उन्होंने लिखी थी. उसको हम लोग जो है वो पब्लिश कर रहे हैं. जो बांग्ला लैंग्वेज में थी उसको हिंदी और अंग्रेज़ी में उसका ट्रांसलेशन हो रहा है, और जो अंग्रेज़ी में थी उसका बांग्ला और हिंदी में ट्रांसलेशन हो रहा है. तो 3 वॉल्यूम्स जो हैं वो निकल रही हैं.
Prime Minister will also take part in a cultural program to be organized in front of the Victoria Memorial. The cultural program dedicated to youth will include dance and musical performances from every state of the country. DD India.
Well, for more on that story, Vishal Baristo, our correspondent, joining us on the phone line. Vishal, give us a sense, celebrations, grand celebrations in Kolkata, but given, especially Netaji, especially it being celebrated as Parakram Diwas, give us the sense of celebrations all across India.
Well, a very good morning to you, Anil. Yes, indeed, a grand celebration, and why not? Because this is the 25th birth anniversary of Netaji, and it is being celebrated as Parakram Diwas, and it was the vision of Modi government that has made it happen. And today, Prime Minister would be reaching Kolkata, and the events are being organized not only at the Victoria Memorial, but also at the National Library, which houses the memories of Netaji. And an international conference is also being held virtually, in which speakers from half a dozen countries would be participating, and also an open art gallery has been installed on this based on the life of Netaji. And very interestingly, 100 artists from different parts of the state have come to express themselves how they were inspired by the life of Netaji. So it's going to be a big, colorful day, and Prime Minister's visit has made it more historic, because this is 125th anniversary, and the idea is to infuse the nationalist feeling amongst the youth, and also to celebrate the indomitable spirit of Netaji. So it's going to be a very, very eventful day in Kolkata.
Okay, especially when it comes to, revisiting the legacy of Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose, how significant, especially in the 21st century, how significant do you see this particular move?
Well, Anil, if you look at the life of Netaji, the man who was the first IAS, in those days it was Indian Civil Services, not the first, but who cleared the IACS exam. He could have been a bureaucrat and he could have been part of the system and enjoyed all the liberties, perks and salaries of the ICS. But he decided to fight for India cause, fight for India's cause, fight for Indian freedom. And the way he fled from the country and he met great leaders like Hitler and Mussolini, and he formed an Indian National Army, and how with the help of the Japanese he captured some of the positions in the northeast. So the life of Netaji itself is quite inspiring, and that his inspiration could be a textbook for the youngsters of the day, because now India is entering into a new India mode, and that is why we need a feeling of nationalism more than any day. So that is why this celebration would be infusing the patriotic feelings in the youth, and revisiting the legacy of Netaji would be very important.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you and appreciate your joining us this morning with those updates there, especially when it comes to the Parakram Diwas across India and the world. Well, artists from rural Bengal have gathered at the National Library in Kolkata to paint a 40-meter long scroll based on the life of Netaji. Painting in the folk art of Patta of Bengal, the artists also sing, glorifying the life and sacrifice of Netaji. Our correspondent Vishal Baristo finds out more.
Based on the events in the life of Netaji, the folk artists of Midnapur are painting this 40-meter long scroll in Pattachitra style, which is very famous in Bengal, in the folk art of Bengal. Now, 8 artists have come from Midnapur.
This is a folk form of Bengal, traditional art. We call it Pattachitra. And here you can see they are painting Bharat Mata is in Srinkhal and Netaji is feeling it. And according to the event, the whole team, they sing a song.
British bahini ke amra korbo na to bhoy sathe ache Subhas Bosu hobe moder joy. British bahini ke amra korbo na to bhoy sathe ache Subhas Bosu hobe moder joy.
They are glorifying the sacrifice of Netaji and how people looked at him, at his leadership, that he would free them, make India a free country from the chains of British Raj. With cameraman Anand and Pramod, this is Vishal Baristo for DD India, Kolkata.
Sathe ache Subhas Bosu hobe moder joy.
Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also tweeted about one special program which is being held at Haripura in Gujarat today. Prime Minister informed that Haripura has a special relation with Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose. It was at the historic Haripura session of 1938 that Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose took up the presidentship of the Congress party. Today's program at Haripura will be a tribute to Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose's contribution to the nation. Prime Minister recalled the affection of the people of Haripura, who in 2009 took him through an elaborate procession on the same road as back in 1938. Well, India has been sending batches of the vaccine to neighbouring and partner countries. After Bhutan, Maldives, Bangladesh and Nepal, vaccine batches from India also reached Seychelles, Myanmar, Morocco, Mauritius and Brazil on Friday. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has shared pictures of vaccines reaching partner countries. He tweeted, and I quote, "Trust the pharmacy of the world, made in India vaccines arrive in Brazil." Brazil President Jair Bolsonaro thanked Prime Minister Narendra Modi for sanjeevni booti against COVID with a picture of Hanuman. In his tweet, Bolsonaro has shared an illustration showing Lord Hanuman carrying a mountain with vaccines from India to Brazil. The illustration is inspired from a tale in the Ramayana in which Lord Hanuman carried the entire mountain to deliver sanjeevni booti, a magical life-saving herb to save wounded Lord Ram's brother Lakshman. In a tweet, he said, and I quote, "Namaskar, Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Brazil feels honored to have a great partner to overcome a global obstacle by joining efforts. Thank you for assisting us with the vaccine exports from India to Brazil. Dhanyavad." Acknowledging Brazil President's tweet, Prime Minister Narendra Modi tweeted, and I quote, "The honor is ours, President Jair Bolsonaro, to be a trusted partner of Brazil in fighting the COVID-19 pandemic together. We will continue to strengthen our cooperation on healthcare." External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar also shared pictures of vaccine supplies made in India reaching Mauritius and Morocco airports. Well, in a tweet he said, and I quote, "Made in India vaccines delivered to Mauritius express a saga of goodwill. Indian vaccines land in Casablanca, India and Morocco, a beautiful friendship." United States on Friday appreciated India's assistance to other countries to combat the COVID-19 pandemic by supplying coronavirus vaccines free of cost. In a tweet, the U.S. State Department Bureau of South and Central Asian Affairs said, and I quote, "We applaud India's role in global health, sharing millions of doses of COVID-19 vaccine in South Asia. India's free shipment of vaccines began with Maldives, Bhutan, Bangladesh and Nepal and will extend to others. India is a true friend, using its pharma to help the global community." Meanwhile, the government has reiterated that its vaccine supplies will be made available to the world in the fight against COVID pandemic. The supply of Indian-made vaccines is underway both as gifts as well as on a commercial basis. India's grant assistance of vaccines to neighboring countries began on the 20th of January. In the first day, 1.5 lakh doses of vaccines were supplied to Bhutan and 1 lakh doses to the Maldives as grant assistance. Friday saw consignments of 15 lakh doses being airlifted to Myanmar, 1 lakh doses to Mauritius and 50,000 doses to Seychelles.
Supplies as grant assistance to Sri Lanka and Afghanistan will be undertaken after receiving confirmation of regulatory clearances from these two countries. Keeping in view the domestic requirements of the phased rollout, India will continue to supply COVID-19 vaccines to partner countries over the coming weeks and months in a phased manner.
President Ramnath Kovind remembered Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose and tweeted tributes to Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose as the nation commences his 125th birth anniversary celebrations. It is befitting to celebrate this day as Parakram Diwas to honor his boundless courage and valor. Netaji instilled the fervor of nationalism among his countless followers. Netaji is one of our most beloved national heroes who made extraordinary contribution to India's freedom struggle. Netaji's patriotism and sacrifice shall always inspire us. We are committed to strengthening the spirit of freedom so strongly impressed by him. This time on the Republic Day, the Traffic Department of Delhi Police has made special arrangements. The Delhi Traffic Police has also issued advisory on the subject. The advisory has states restrictions on the movement of traffic. According to the Delhi Police Joint Commissioner Manish Agarwal, traffic will remain closed at India Gate, Rajpath and Vijay Chowk and Tilak Marg Road. The full dress rehearsals are taking place today and the final parade is on the 26th of January, for which a special advisory will be issued.
इस बार कोविड के चलते सबसे पहले तो परेड का रूट छोटा कर दिया गया है। सेकेंडली नंबर ऑफ इन्वाइटीज़ जो है गवर्नमेंट ने रिड्यूस किए हैं, वो ऑलमोस्ट 1/5 कर दिए गए हैं। सीट्स का जो अरेंजमेंट होता है उनको काफ़ी एक दूसरे से डिस्टेंस पे कर दिया गया है, जिससे कि सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग नॉर्म फॉलो हो सके। एंट्रीज़ के ऊपर जो टेम्परेचर गन्स, मास्क, सैनिटाइज़र एक्सेट्रा का प्रोविज़न दिया गया है। मेडिकल टीम्स लगाई गई हैं। तो इन सब चीज़ों का जो है ख़ास ध्यान रखा गया है इस बार। और एक जो मेन बात है कि इस बार बिना इनविटेशन के या बिना टिकट्स के एंट्रीज अलाउड नहीं की गई हैं, सो दैट कहीं क्राउडिंग ना हो।
Well, this year at the Republic Day parade, the Navy's tableau will feature the scaled-down model of a missile boat and an INS Vikrant conducting flying operation with Seahawk and Alice airplanes. As the country is celebrating the 1971 victory and liberation of Bangladesh as Swarnim Vijay Varsh, the theme of the Navy tableau this year depicts the stellar role played by the Navy in bombing the Karachi harbour.
The contingent being paraded comprises 96 young sailors, which will be led by Lieutenant Commander Lalit Kumar as a contingent commander and Lieutenant Commander Sunay Fogat, Lieutenant Aditya Shukla and Sub-Lieutenant Agastya Chaudhary as platoon commanders. The tableau commanders are Lieutenant Commander C.S. Ruben and Lieutenant Commander Surbhi Sharma. The Indian Navy's naval band will be led by Sumesh Rajan, Master Chief Petty Officer Musician, Class 2.
Well, international news, Lloyd Austin, a retired Army general, made history on Friday by becoming America's first black defense secretary, arriving at the Pentagon minutes after his Senate confirmation to a busy schedule that included a call with NATO's Secretary General. Austin will be sworn in and immediately receive an intelligence briefing. After that, he'll chair a briefing on the coronavirus pandemic with top Pentagon leadership, with many joining virtually. Austin, at 67, built a reputation as a razor-sharp leader who avoided the spotlight during his distinguished 4-decade career in uniform, including a time heading Central Command, which oversees U.S. troops across the Middle East. U.S. President Joe Biden on Friday said that the U.S. economic crisis was deepening and that the government needs to take major action now to help struggling Americans. Biden said that the government needs to act decisively and boldly to help Americans who are seeking their paychecks reduced and are barely hanging on. He also said that the $2 trillion economic relief package to address the devastating effects of COVID-19 pandemic has the support from business, labor, Wall Street and Main Street. Biden on Friday ordered the fast issuance of pandemic stimulus checks to needy families and increased food aid for children who normally rely on school meals, an effort to ease Americans' burden while Congress negotiates over his proposed stimulus package. In the opening days of his administration, Biden is emphasizing that the government must tackle the coronavirus crisis with urgency after his predecessor, Donald Trump, largely played it down. Well, let's now also take a quick update on COVID-19 pandemic from across the world in terms of numbers. As of now, 9 crore 86 lakh. More than that, COVID-19 cases being reported worldwide. The global death toll now standing at 21 lakh 14,000. Over 7 crore people also recovering from the virus. United States, the worst affected country by the pandemic with regards to infections as well as fatalities. In terms of infections, 2 crore 53 lakh, that's the number, and in terms of death toll, the number now surging past 4 lakh 23,000. Brazil follows United States in terms of death toll, with the death toll now at 2 lakh 15,000. The World Health Organization, WHO, on Friday said that it has reached an agreement with Pfizer for 40 million doses of its vaccine against COVID-19, allowing it to begin vaccinating people in poor and lower middle income countries under its COVAX program next month. WHO Director General Tedros Ghebreyesus told a briefing that the new agreement with Pfizer should allow vaccinations to begin in February for health workers, adding that pending approval, the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine would be distributed. The COVAX program has signed deals for hundreds of millions of doses to vaccinate people in poor and low middle income countries. Pfizer's vaccine is so far the only one that has WHO emergency approval. Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla said that 40 million doses announced on Friday would be sold on a non-profit basis. Meanwhile, Belgium is banning residents from taking vacations abroad until March to limit the spread of more infectious COVID-19 variants and to avoid a deadly third wave of COVID-19 cases. Prime Minister Alexander De Croo on Friday said that the government had decided to prohibit travel into or out of Belgium for recreation or tourism from Jan 27th to March 1st. De Croo said that when people travel, the virus travels with them. The Prime Minister said measures has to be adjusted to avoid a third wave, although people can still cross borders for essential trips such as for work or for medical treatment. Belgium will also tighten rules on people arriving from Britain, South Africa or South American countries where more transmissible variants have been found, with a mandatory 10-day quarantine. The court wants to avoid a repeat of last winter when Belgians went to alpine ski holidays, bringing the virus back with them, or the Christmas New Year period when 160,000 residents ignored government advice and took trips abroad. Well, moving to France, where the biggest vaccination drive of the Saint-Marina department east of Paris had to close down on Friday due to a shortage of doses. Around 200 people who were scheduled to get vaccinated were warned not to come or were turned away by the staff at the center. All the appointees were rescheduled over the next 10 days. Meanwhile, the French government said that France is not experiencing problems with the supply of vaccines. They said apart from minor fluctuations, France is getting the doses from the manufacturers that were allotted to it. Many French people were initially skeptical, but as they have seen acquaintances getting vaccinated with no adverse effects, large numbers decided the benefits outweigh the risk. Vaccination is open to health workers and first responders aged over 50, people aged 75 and over, as well as nursing home residents. France has vaccinated 8,23,567 people as of Thursday and plans to have at least 1 million people vaccinated by the end of January. Well, between 150 and 200 National Guards deployed to Washington, D.C. to provide security for President Joe Biden's inauguration have tested positive for COVID-19. A U.S. official revealed that the number of National Guard troops who tested positive could rise, but was still a small fraction of the more than 25,000 troops deployed in city over the past few days. Well, Ferrari on Friday announced that the Dutch go-karter Maya Wung, a winner of the 5-day scouting camp at the Italian team's Marsala headquarters and Florina test track, has become the first female member of the Formula One's team's driver academy. Weg, who is a 16-year-old, will be given a season in the FIA sanctions Formula 4 championship. Well, IOC President Thomas Bach on Friday said that the Tokyo Summer Olympic Games will take place as per schedule, adding that the safety and scrutiny of participating athletes will be given utmost priority. Bach also said that they were looking at all possible measures from immigration rules and quarantine rules to social distancing and rapid testing for smooth conduct of the Games. The opening ceremony of the Summer Olympic Games is scheduled to be held on the 23rd of July. Well, that's all we have time for in this edition of news. Thanks for watching. You take good care of yourself. Have a safe and wonderful weekend ahead. Bye-bye.